Hello. This is my first attempt at making a little vlog. These are not the ideal This is not the ideal moment. But I'm choosing to speak anyway. I am feeling so utterly heartbroken. It's been months since my brother died, and it has been months since my marriage has fallen apart, but it's only been maybe 3 or 4 weeks since I've gotten home, if I can call it that, and my inner child just cannot seem to comprehend or accept what is happening. And whenever I do manage to speak with it or channel it, all it's all it wants to say is, let me out, let me go, I don't want to be here. Why are we here? And I honestly I don't know what to say. I thought oh, shit. I think I like most of us. I I really tried. I really tried to be a good son, to be a good partner, husband, a good friend, a good brother. But now it's like my whole life and identity are just crumbling or being revealed to be illusions built on quicksand in what was only the eye of the storm, the little break. I thought I had gotten away from the chaos and the dysfunction. But it seems that and it's hard to even say or admit, but it seems like I just repeated the same patterns as my father, as well, what I imagine it to have been like, and from what I can tell from what he shared. But regardless, the chaos is back, and that is so. I wish I could say frustrating. No, it's actually incredibly shameful, embarrassing, to be back. Actually, it feels like it's not that I'm back. No, yeah, I'm back to the worst time I've ever felt, and I know that with all that I've learned and all the support I have, that this is an opportunity to speak with that traumatized boy that swore for vengeance, swore to close off his heart, and that was never going to be who I let control my life. But I can see now how, in suppressing, in trying to control that rebellious, angry, confused child part of myself, I never really lived my life. It wasn't mine. I'm 31, and I cannot say that yeah, I don't think I can say that I've made a single real, authentic choice. And that's bizarre, absurd to think about. Like, what? Surely I must have, but I'm not talking about the mundane choices. Like, I'm sure this was all. I don't even like saying that. So I think what I'm genuinely feeling is that everything I did was to please my parents, society, somehow even the sabotage or the rebellion was just somehow ended up leading to the same place. I isolated myself. I basically fucked up my life, I guess. I fucked up my life in revenge, despite my father, despite society. Fuck all of you. I am gonna, I guess, be miserable in bed, and that's that. What the fuck? Like, but that's what I did. I don't really. I mean, I know I tried to be good, and I know I was. Like, I was very honorable in my marriage. Um, I wasn't the one. Well, that's complicated, but I didn't do anything immoral. Perhaps not doing certain things was part of the problem. I don't really know. I'm still trying to understand it all, but I tried to work, to be a good friend, to be a good family member, and it took me, God, what did it take me? Like 12 years to finally be able to get back in touch with my family on a regular basis. And even that fell apart and temporarily. And God, is it hard to hold on to that guilt? Maybe I'll share more but later, but it wasn't my life. And I don't know how to square the feeling of, it just doesn't make sense. Like, this isn't my life, and yet all these things are leaving this house, and where they, what? This was me, but not me. And some of it obviously was my wife's, but it's still so heartbreaking to see it go, but then at the same time to realize I was not attached. I was. It wasn't me. It wasn't mine. She wasn't mine. She maybe never was. Uh, but that's another question. So it's so confusing to be grieving and heartbroken over something that feels like it was someone else's life and possessions and decisions. Like, uh, sure, rationally, that's not 100% true, but it's still just it's that tension of like it's so heartbreaking. Like I remember feeling so broken, empty, sad when I learned the news for like a week. Uh, and so now it's just like I'm feeling it again. I can't. I have shit to do. Like we all. I don't know how to. How am I supposed to deal with this when like my fucking psoas muscle, the fuck, like my stomach muscle deep in my stomach just fucking starts hurting because there's digestion happening. Is that even true? I don't know. I'm fucking believing in ghosts and shit now. So like, maybe there is something to emotions triggering old wounds and things. But still, it's just how am I supposed to do all this? Like the overwhelm is it's just too much. Like gotta get divorced, gotta earn money, gotta go figure out medical appointments, dental appointments, physical therapy, talk to this person, still talk to your family regularly, still try to do work and do projects with people, and then go to this and try to have fun. And it's important to be balanced and take care of yourself. And it's like, I just fucking. Ooh, that could have bubbled over, and maybe I need to let it, but I feel like I can't, and perhaps that's the problem. Is I just can't. I'm holding on so tightly to this life, and I just don't give a shit about it. Actually, it's like I don't know. I guess I'll share it because this is who I am. So fuck you if you disagree with us. It's fine. What? But I've come to study a lot of esoteric traditions, and one of them that I like is astrology. You can have your opinions, and I certainly am fucking boggled. My mind, I don't get it. I'm still skeptical. I don't, and all that, um, but viewing it as a reflection, as a tool to understand myself, I use the language. It's more a language and a tool, and so I think my ego, my son, does not want to let go. Holy shit! Like I tried so hard to maintain balance, uh, or even another spiritual personality, whatever system is the Enneagram, and I'm a 9, the peacemaker, the mediator. And boy, I don't want to let anything go. Like I had my peace. Why can't I go back to it? And it, well, it wasn't a real peace. Like I think the rest of my astrological planets, IFS inner parts, or my growth path in the Enneagram, I think they all converge to say the same thing. That wasn't your life. You're meant for more. You're meant to change, evolve, teach, guide, explore, live a fulfilled life. And I don't, I'm so scared. And yet, when I think, back to just how I felt after my brother died, it, and the few times that I felt that clarity before, it just, all I can feel is that I don't want anyone else to suffer like this. And like how he suffered, to be so lost. To be so alone. To be in such pain. And not know. And not know the way out. To not believe that you deserve it. That there's a way out. That it's real and it won't just crumble again. That's probably the hardest one for me, but at least right now it's just, I'm back in this. Oh, fuck it. Back in this depressive state, and I don't know who the fuck is gonna watch this, but I don't want to alarm whoever's watching that, like, and I guess trigger warning, but I'm not suicidal, but the thoughts of just, why am I existing, I think are very real, and if I have a compassionate perspective, this is just, I'm very wounded. My inner child is screaming in pain, and it's this old life that must die. I mean, all things die or end. Hell, maybe the universe ends. I don't know. Metaphysics aside, there is just such heaviness and yet emptiness, which, how's that possible? Thank you, but I'm so scared. That's a whole rabbit hole tangent. But yeah, I guess it's just, I don't know how to get out of this, and yet I feel like I know. I keep coming back to them over the months and the last few years. It's honestly a gift. God or self keeps showing me, reminding me of my path, and it is beautiful. It is wonderful to feel like I am connected to some higher purpose. I sure fucking wish that the boat wasn't just like in a hurricane going up and down. It's a bit, it's not conducive to peace, which is, I guess, what I'm after. I mean, I mentioned the Enneagram, and I think it's dangerous to say I am a 9 or I am an ENFP or whatever. But, you know, I have a strong desire for peace and a fear of abandonment and conflict. And from that perspective, absolutely. I can see how that's true. I think that's all I've ever wanted, and or I guess I should say that's the logical conclusion from observing myself or reflecting on what I've done, why I've done it, and that's why I'm speaking now. Is that, well, desperation, because of just how low I feel and the commitment I've made to express myself, but for my growth, for my healing, to help others. But man, it's tough. Like when all you want to do is just, well, when you get triggered, when you see things, when you're reminded of things, when you feel pain or emotions, it's like that. It's like, oh, here come all these toxic, unhealthy coping mechanisms, and they're, it's not fair to demonize them. Like we all use them at some level, at some points. They've helped us, and definitely there's some we've learned in really trying times, and they worked. They got us through. They kept us alive. But they don't serve us anymore. And so it's just, there's so many things that have died or ended. And yet, it's like I'm facing down the barrel of this gun and it's just, there's more. You need to let go of more. I was like, what? Like, but I only have like this much. I can't let go. And in moments of connection, of clarity, I'm able to see who's holding the gun, and it's not really a gun, but the person holding it is, I don't know, an ideal me, a Jesus, a God, a angel, whoever you want. It's this higher self, or the highest self, telling me that if you want to reach the kingdom of God, if you want peace on this earth, you will have to die. It's more of an ego death, and letting go, but it's still a death. The me who's scared and hides away in his room, watches YouTube, suppresses his emotions, plots revenge, half-assed revenge, but retreats into illusions and stories, or just being good. Depends on the mood I'm in, I guess. But all of that, all of those unhealthy responses, behaviors, habits, beliefs, friendships. There's not many unhealthy ones left, thank God. But I already had to let go of one, two, three. Huh? Shit. And it's so hard when your default response is not to fight or struggle or work harder or seek help. Why would I do any of that when I can just go to sleep to myself? Just bury my head like a fucking ostrich. Like, just why deal with shit? Why like, somehow I make a list of to-dos and then it just becomes this thing that like is terrifying, where I can beat myself up over. And it's why, like, at one level it helps, which is great, like, to get that stuff out, but then it just becomes this demon baby, or I don't even know, poison. I thought the point was to get it out, it'll feel better, but that's not always the case. You know, the imagery that comes to mind is like, I built my own prison. So it's like, yeah, you can externalize things, but sometimes those things become the very prison that enslaves you. And I don't know what to make of that. I mean, I really believed I was doing my best. And yet, I guess the fear, the hate, plotted against me because I was afraid of them, afraid of what the consequences would be if I acted on them. But they just fucking went underground. Fucking guerrilla resistance fighters that, like, just sabotaged everything. And not even in ways that I could necessarily deal with, because that, no, I'm too clever. I would pick up on that. No. We will pretend to lie to ourselves that, yes, software engineering is definitely the safer option. Game design, yeah, I don't know about that. Bioengineering, yeah, I mean, you thought it was cool, but no, it's not really. Software engineering would, you should listen to your family, and hell, I'm fucked either way. If I listen to them or society, I make the wrong choice. But if I just like run away, I'm not going to make the best choice because I'm just doing the opposite, and that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what I wanted to do. Like, if you want to go north, but your parents are saying go east, and you go the opposite way, well, you're still not fucking going north. Like, it doesn't matter how much you rebel or try to run away from them, you're still not on your path. And that's weird. I thought, well, at least it's not east. Like, yeesh. But west is a shit show. And so, like, I'm seeing that still show up all the time. Like, I don't want to go back to the Bay Area. I don't want to go back to my family. And those are kind of the same thing, but and yet I can't help but feel the doubt, like, oh, maybe I should go east. Maybe I should listen to my parents. But hold on, is that actually north, though? Is that where I want to go? I don't think it is, but the problem is that there is great clarity it is fake clarity, but or insight, or those are not the right words, but it is so easy to just go the opposite way, or to do what you're told or is expected of you. Those are very black and white, easy options. And instead, you would have, instead, if you reject those and you actually try to live your life your way, it is, in the beginning, terrifying because you have an infinity of options, countless, too many to possibly know what to do with. Like, I could go anywhere, I could do anything, even with the constraints of knowing, of having done the work and knowing a few things that call to me. The combinations, the details, it's a combinatorial explosion. To use a funny but very applicable phrase, like it's like, okay, well, do I go to Utah? Do I go over here? Do I get a car? Do I fly? Do I work on this? Do I work on that? Do I work at the same time? How much do I work? How much? It's the intellect cannot possibly steer this fucking ship. Like, that's not what it is here to do. Like, there's a study, or case study of a person whose left and right brain were separated, disconnected, and they couldn't make a fucking decision to save their life. And I'm like, fuck, that's me. Not on the big things, on the scary things. And I think the hardest part is this. In the support group I go to, the ACA, adult children of alcoholic or dysfunctional families, quite the mouthful. I'm still here, computer, thank you. So in the support group, one of the steps is basically to, it's related to the Alcoholics Anonymous 12 steps. And one of the steps is to basically, I'm paraphrasing here, but it's to give surrender to God, let go of control. I don't know what to make of that. I really don't. Oh, the pain now. I don't know what to make of that. What the fuck does that mean? Like, what? Like, I still have to act. I still need to eat, decide where to eat, what to work on. Like, what does that mean? What does it mean? What do you mean let go? How do I let go? I tried that. It didn't work. So clearly there's nuance here, that or even that the expected audience of this are people who are overly controlling, and in a sense going to sleep is a way of regaining control, but it's not quite the same thing. Like, it's, or is it? That's interesting. If it is, yeah, I guess that's it. I mean, I've known this. It comes back to trying to control the outcome, the result, what you get from doing a thing. I guess I just don't want to. I don't want to hear it, or accept it. What I want to hear, how I want to interpret it is just give up. But that's not it. That doesn't sound like fun. I genuinely believe that life, consciousness, is fundamentally play, iterated play. And so the point isn't, I mean, this is an Alan Watts thing, this is a Jordan Peterson thing, but the point isn't to reach the end as fast as possible. That's not, the point of a it's not the point of a musical concert or a song, like you, or even a game. The point isn't, well, to some perhaps it is, the point is to win, but the most fun we have is when we are in the flow of life and we are engaging in each moment. And I'm not. I'm not engaging in each moment. I want to hide. I want to bury my head in the sand. I want to just fucking stop existing. I couldn't kill myself, but dear God, it's too much sometimes. And yet, there's this fucking persistent, I don't know, fire. It's so small. Candle, spark, that just is just enough that should things get too difficult, I will just fucking explode in anger, and or not even anger, it's this like survival response that just like jolts me awake and is like, no, fuck that. I want to live. And I'm so grateful for that. I don't I guess God put it there, or however you want to think of it. I'm just grateful it's there, and honestly, it feels like that's what I need to do, is I need to let myself get there. And I just don't, I'm scared. I'm scared that it'll get there because I will have just broken down and like I've hit rock bottom, but apparently there's a basement and a mine shaft and a well, and it can go deeper. Like rock bottom is just where you decide to pick yourself back up, and I mean, decide makes it sound like it's a conscious choice, but it gets deeper. It gets fucking deeper. Don't. And I can't. I don't want that. I can't. I don't. No. Ah. But the spark is terrifying for its own. For my own. I don't know. Why is it terrifying? Why is it terrifying? I think if I'm honest, I mean, I'm terrified of the light just as much. Like, how beautifully symbolic or archetypal, but the light is just as scary as the darkness. I mean, many people say, like, oh, dark, evil, whatever is so bad, but like it's not safe in the light. Like so many creatures are night creatures. Like are only safe when they're in the shadows, and I'm just, I'm tired. I've got my shadow demon friends like here in the dark, and it's just, I mean, I'm tired of them. I really am. They're familiar, they're safe, but just how just like just like that first quarter in college when I met my wife. Um, I was in a pretty bad apartment dorm situation, and I really rebelled in my own hilarious way. Uh, you know, did basically did out drank alcohol and did weed, and when I'd grown up Mormon, and I forget when that was, but I did try to leave the church, and that did not go well. Better than I could have asked for, honestly, but or expected, but still kind of poorly. And I think I just rebelled. I mean, I really got unlucky, lucky, by ending up in such a party house. But I only got out of there. I only got out of that house because that quarter I had English class with a cute redhead, and I mean, I don't know how to think of it, knowing what I know now, but what I've said before is she saved me. I I don't I don't even want to know. Well, that's not entirely true. Part of me does want to know what would have happened if I stayed, but I'm really happy I got out. I shaped up and turned my grades around. I failed two of the three classes, not English class. No, no, no. I managed to get a B. I didn't even try to impress her or anything. It just worked out that way. You'd think it'd be the opposite. She was distracting me in class, but guess not. God, I don't even remember what the classes were. What the hell were they? English, chemistry, bioethics, and I don't know. Something stupid, clearly, but um, yeah, I turned my grades around. I got out of that house. Holy shit, the luck! Like what? That to be able to get out like a quarter in, like that, like 3 months or yeah, that was lucky. I didn't end up in the greatest of places, but it worked. It worked. It was fine. It did the job, and then yeah, graduated like a 3.6 GPA after 4 years. God, I guess I got an internship and got a job after. I mean, are not the these were not good or great necessarily, but they did the job. But yeah, I just, where do I go from here? Yeah. Man, it's good to get all this off my chest. I mean, I feel like I just, yeah, I guess I do feel lighter. I'm still, I think, on the verge of tears, and yep, that's a headache. But this was good. I, and yet I still feel like I think this is my mind, my intellect, but it's like, well, what's the answer then? Okay, you cried, that's great. But like, now what? Where do we go? What do we do? Fuck if I know, dude. Like, what? Read the room. Like, God, just give me a break. What does that mean? It's like who's me? How? Why? I mean, yeah. I guess that's something I could get real angry about, but it's like, what to tell? So somebody in the course of the fucking human childhood should have fucking taught us, should taught me, uh, but us, how the fuck any of this works. Like, what are emotions? What are relationships? What is the point of life? And like, maybe some practical skills in there too. No, instead you learn fucking pointless facts. I mean, I'm fucking 31, so like, born in 93, I'm not even close to what the fuck you high school, middle school, whatever youngins are going through now with all this shit with AI and social media. But I mean, I felt some of it for sure. I mean, the world went to shit multiple times. My world too, and just how the fuck, like, and to just leave it all up to parents. Like my opinions on politics or family or religion are, always evolving and nuanced, and but at the same time, like it, I deeply respect those who believe that family teaches, and should, that family is the first and most important place to learn things. And I don't know if I believe with the should so much, but I definitely agree that the alternatives so far have been awful. But like with many things, I can understand why they're the way they are. Even advocate to slow down change. But at the same time, the question fucking remains: why do we let fucking dysfunctional parents, people, kids, fucking kids? They're basically kids. If you're fucking 20, you're a kid. You know nothing. Stereotype, distribution, whatever. You know who you are if you're on top of your shit. But the rest of us are fucking clueless. We should not be bringing a child into this world at fucking 20, and yet somehow that's been the way it has been done at like 16 to 25, maybe. I don't know even. I don't know if it's been earlier, but the point is, like, that's too early, not from a biological standpoint, because I've met some well raised, wise, intelligent, compassionate kids and teens, even. And they're great. But are they equipped, like, to raise a child? And in this culture we live in, we're also isolated. We have no guidance. We have no community. We have no support group that isn't gone. And if it isn't. If it is there, you're lucky. Or you've worked hard at it. But, like, what the fuck are we doing in these. Like, I was playing GTA 5 for the first time. Crazy. But the song starts playing, and I find it hilarious. It's like living in a box, in a cardboard box. And at first I find it hilarious because I'm like, well, it's LA. The homeless living in a box, in a cardboard box. It's like, oh, that's funny. That's a cool song. Rockstar, the developers must have. That's a real funny joke. And then my friend is like, no, that's a real song. And I'm like, wait, what? Okay. And it sounded 80s. I thought I would have known it from my dad, but I guess he never played it. And then it hit me. I remembered some skit from some comedian. It must have been like a George Carlin or someone really critical of the society we live in. And it's like, we live in a box. We go to work in a box. We go to another box so that we can sit at a box, work at a box, type on a box, eat out of a box, watch a box. It's not really about the box. I mean, obviously, the box is a great shape. It's strong, it's sturdy, but like it's the meta. It's what it evokes. It's the cages. It's the limits. And on one hand, the box, the house, the shell protects us. It keeps us safe, warm. But it also isolates. It disconnects us. And more, we are choosing. And yes, not choosing is a choice, or going with the default option is still a choice. Hard to accept, as you can tell by now, but it is still a choice. And I think the hardest part is that I know I'm here to fight and guide. But the hardest one is fight what? Fight what? There's no lions. There's no monsters. I mean, even whatever your political opinions are, the one thing I'm sure about is that the other side is not a monster. I don't. I don't even go away if you genuinely believe that. These are human beings. Yes, they're sociopaths, sure, but fuck right off if you believe that. Oh, it's the other side. We have to fight them. No. We can have conflict. We can disagree, and still believe that we're on the same team, or I don't even know. That's such an emotional thing for me, but so emotional I don't remember what I was talking about. Fight. Yeah. What are we fighting? What am I fighting? There is no physical monster. That I believe. There is no monster, demon. And yet I know there are. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't believe any human, at this point we may have to start including AI here, but for now, I don't believe any human is evil or good. I think we just are. But we carry with us the potential for either. And often at the same time. Each to different degrees, but I'm not even sure on that. Like, at the risk of spiritually bypassing, trying to get around my problems by pretending I'm all spiritual. Um, Maybe there's nothing bad about evil. I mean, that's an insane statement. So let me explain it. Um, I believe that, as I said, life is a game that we play to experience existence. And for there to be light, there must be darkness. And so there is a natural polarity, duality to everything. And so, yes, some things are evil, bad, harmful. But who's to say that they are not useful? Like, in nature, in life, the death of one creature becomes food for another. A forest fire becomes an opportunity for the forest to renew, for certain rare flowers or mushrooms to grow, to blossom. And nature isn't all flowers and rainbows. Like, there are some nasty creatures, nasty life forms that, by our standards, no, they should, yeah. And yet, life carries on. And I don't think that means that all of a sudden we should be tolerant of evil or bad, immoral things, but I am just left with the question of what to do. I don't I don't want to be a bad guy or a villain. And yet I don't know if I really want to be, well, some part of me definitely wants to be a shining white knight, savior, hero, but I think what the last few weeks have taught me is that actually the role that I enjoy playing the most is that of the trickster. A sort of chaotic neutral alignment. And they're very, There are some disagreements about exactly what that is, so I don't know it, but it, it feels the most appropriate, but perhaps it's actually, yeah, hold on. Yeah, it's more just chaotic in the sense that, yeah, maybe that's not true. Maybe it's lawful neutral, um, with a hearty dose of chaos monkey in there, trickster energy. Because I care about, huh, I care about humanity, big questions, big problems, long term, the future. What is it? What does life mean? How did the universe begin? What is right and wrong? What does it mean to be human? And yet, I also, it's like, does it fucking matter? Like it's like I read something and I was like, when these natives somewhere, I think it must have been some island, but some remote humans were asked, like, what's the meaning of it all? What I don't remember exactly, but just, one of these big questions, and they were just like, the fuck? Like, the point is the point. We live to live. Now shut up and pass me the salt. And that's just, I don't know. I think there's something so beautiful about that, to, like, I mean, they talk about this in the Enneagram, but they say that, like, humanity began in the nine, in this place of just community, no real consciousness, just a communal, tribal, subconscious existence. And then something happened, and we became conscious. We became aware. We our hunger, our drive, our hunger for knowledge, for power, arose, and it seemed, well. So what it says is that we will, the path of culture, of civilization, of consciousness, is to eventually return back to that place, and the hero's journey follows a similar trajectory. But it's I can definitely see how it is great to learn, to achieve, and I may need to do all of this. So, but to how even yogis will say this, like, you need to go out in the world, you must achieve something, and then you must let it go. Only then will the letting go, the surrender at the end of your life, or the second half, whatever, be really meaningful. And there are, I'm sure, many ways to live life or reach enlightenment or whatever, but I think that makes so much sense to me, that we're here to play, to go out, to compete, to fight, to earn, to play, to compete, and all of that. And it's a beautiful thing. But it becomes a terrible thing when we forget When we forget that this was just a game. This was just a play. We put on our costumes and our masks. And we played our roles. We read our lines. And when the time came, we left the stage. We didn't fight it. We didn't blame the director or curse at the audience. It was just our turn was over. And maybe when we left, we returned back to the audience. And as we sat down, we got to watch it unfold without us. So, brother, I hope you're watching. I hope to live a life I'm proud of, and I hope to live a life I'm proud of, and one that when I come to see you again, we can both be proud. Goodbye, brother.